Welcome to Pilates for Musicians. I'm Barbara Chapman, and this is my Pilates partner, Peter Rice. He's also my son. Today we're going to explore Pilates exercises and stretches that will help you in many ways for your teaching and also for your own health. We're going to explore strength for the core, posture. We're also going to look into ways to alleviate tension in the neck and the spine and the lower back. We'll be working on our breathing and balance. And finally, just increasing alertness and body awareness. So let's go ahead and get started. I have some of my favorite props on hand. This is the FISA ball. I sit on this while I teach. I also sometimes have students come and sit on it to find their balance. It's wonderful for the core. This is a 65. You can also get a little bigger, which is a 75. They're easy to get online at Amazon. I also have some hand weights. These are totally optional, but they'll just increase the cardio. That's what you're looking for. And then some of my favorite props are the TheraBand. And if you don't have a TheraBand, you can simply use a towel. These work just as well, or close to just as well. And most everybody has one of these at hand. So we'll start with how to sit. And most of us musicians do have to sit while we play, unless we're a singer. And I not only teach on this, but I also work on balance for my students and how they need to sit at the instrument. So the beauty of the FISA ball is that you have to really balance your sits bones on, or your hips on the ball. You can't afford to keep your feet here or here, which is a common problem with students. You're also going to engage your core as you sit here. What I like to do sometimes is just tip my pelvis forward and back, give my spine a little bit of a release. It's a really simple balance act, but it keeps that core alive. So this is just a really easy way to sit, good for the back, but it also gets a little bit of exercise as you're sitting on there. Now, transferring this posture and this seating idea on just a regular chair, it could be a piano bench, Peter's going to demonstrate. Now notice how his knees and his ankles are in alignment, just like they would have to be on the FISA ball. Nice straight back, and he's sitting equally balanced on his sits bones. So you can transfer that concept of the FISA ball right onto a chair, and you have a beautiful posture. All right. Now developing that posture sometimes takes some strength and some body awareness. So Peter's going to help demonstrate some of those. Go ahead and stand up, and we'll start with some standing exercises that will benefit. So go ahead, and we'll start with the roll down. I'm going to move the chair out of the way. So the roll down is a wonderful exercise to alleviate tension in the whole spine, starting with the cervical spine all the way down. So he's in a parallel position. He takes an inhale, and he's going to just let his chin go, rolling down bone by bone, letting the arms relax, the shoulders relax in their socket, just a complete release. Take a couple breaths in that position. He can let his arms circle. It's really nice to relieve the tension in the shoulder girdle and in the neck. A little bit of a balance challenge, not too much. And then he can work his head. He can do a yes, nod, and no. There's all sorts of things he can do. Take a nice big breath. And as he exhales, he's going to come up very slowly, bone by bone. And again, stretching out that spine is one of our goals in Pilates. That articulation is articulate the spine. Go ahead and do a couple of shoulder rolls in that. Yeah. Good. Now I'm going to give him the option now of doing that with some hand weights. Now hand weights are just going to add a little bit more traction, a little bit more juice to that stretch. Inhale and exhale. And again, optional, you could use soup cans if you don't have weights. Just bring it down, just let it dangle. I like to think about everything completely released. This is going to give him a lot of traction with those weights. Releases right in through here, which is a place we harbor a lot of tension. Now take an inhale, and as you exhale, start rolling up bone by bone. Good. And I like how he's going very slowly. That'll really help articulate the spine. And keeping the ribs in, belly in. Now there's another option with the feet. The last option would be our Pilates stance. Now in Pilates, we often put our feet together, our heels together, toes fist width apart. That's a little more of a balance challenge, but it's going to address more of the center line and get a little bit more stretch through the way through the tailbone all the way up to the top of the head. Take an inhale, and as he exhales, he'll roll it slowly And I think he can feel there's a little more stretch there in the spine, right? When you do it in a Pilates stance. So it's something you might want to advance to if this is new to you. Good, excellent. All right, we'll take those weights. So continuing the idea of releasing in through the neck, which is a place we harbor a lot of tension, I'm going to have Peter do some head nods. These can also be done seated, so a lot of these exercises could be done seated. He's got a beautiful straight spine. He just nods his chin forward, and good. And down, good. And go ahead and look to the side, just circle around. We might incorporate these exercises in some other exercises as we go on. So this head nod could be incorporated into some other work later on. So just keep this in mind. This is a simple but very effective exercise to help release spine in the neck. Good. Beautiful. All right. Now continuing the idea of opening up the chest and giving that spine, the upper spine, the cervical spine, some release. We'll go right into some shoulder exercises. So right now I'm having Peter extend his arms all the way up, kind of like a plane, airplane. And his shoulders are in a neutral position. As he externally rotates his shoulders over, he's opening up his chest and his palms are up to the sky. And go ahead and do that a couple of times. So we're working from here. Yeah. So I'm putting my fingers here. You notice a lot of students will lift their shoulders up when they're playing. Their trapezius, yeah, and sometimes I say they have little squirrels here. They don't want to flip off their shoulders. So Peter's keeping those really quiet. These are the trapezius muscles. You don't want them overactive. Now go ahead and put your palms over. So externally rotate the shoulders. Then bring your hands behind the occiput of your head. That's that ball right here at the base of your head. I have students do this all the time, especially that have tight shoulders. I do it myself. Inhale and exhale. Press that occiput into your hand. Just really press it. Now notice how his ribs stay centered. That's important too, because if he thrusts his ribs out, thrust your ribs out, you're not really getting the stretch through the spine. What you're doing is just compensating through that thoracic. You don't want to do that. Let's do that one more time. Good. Now to make this a little bit more advanced, he could just tip to the side with a little bit of a stretch. So just lean that to the side. He's getting a little bit of side wall here. Continuing to push in the hand. Do the other side. That feel good? Peter has a desk job, so he's always working on trying to open up his chest in every way he can. Good. Let's just do one more. Pressing into the hands. So you've got that press in at the same time where you're keeping the shoulders open. Good. Now go ahead and extend your arms. We'll go right into the twist position. Now the twist position will be done with the palms down, ribs in. Inhale and exhale. Just twist, 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 and then center and twist, twist. Good. Nice. Try that in Pilates stance now. That's a little bit more advanced. It's going to get a little bit more awareness of where you're twisting from. Beautiful. Nice work. Beautiful. All right. Now from here, we'll go right into an exercise that is a little bit more of a full body exercise. Go ahead and grab your hand and cross your leg. So he's taking his right arm now and crossing his right leg over his left. Inhale and exhale. Yeah, so this is going to, again, give a nice stretch to the shoulders, but more to the lateral area, the serratus. And this is a muscle here I call the piano muscle with my students, so they learn to play from here in the back opposed to biceps. And do the other side. Nice release. Again, through the shoulders. Inhale and exhale. Now, Peter's doing something that I think is wonderful. He's pulling on his arm as well. If that's too much, you've had some shoulder issues, don't do it. But that's going to give you a little bit more traction out of it. Now, there's a variation when Peter's crossing his legs. Now he's going to bend the back knee, and that's going to give a little bit more of a stretch through the hip. And it's also going to give some release into the pelvis, which oftentimes gets very tense when we sit a lot. And let's do the other side. This is really full body exercise. It's a stretch and exercise combined. Beautiful. And well done. All right, go ahead and shake it up. Just give you some shakes. Shakes are good too. Sometimes we just need to shake it out, get that everything released. From here, this is a set of some cardio exercises that are in the Pilates repertoire. We'll start out with the genie position. These are high steps. Again, you've got that beautiful posture, Pilates stance. This needs to be, this is more effective in Pilates stance than in parallel, although you could do it in parallel. Bring right knee up to the elbow without looking and bring it down. Really good for proprioception. Yeah, so where are you in space? Good for musicians who have to, perhaps a pianist who has to reach for notes away and keep things within the peripheral vision. Awesome. It's good. This is good for cardio, just getting that heart rate up. Do 10 of those and you're getting the heart rate up in a matter of about a minute. Now, to make this a little bit more challenging, go ahead and bring your hands out farther and have a wider. As this is working inner thighs, it's working core, cardio, all sorts of things. Plus, he's practicing his beautiful posture. Nice. Okay. Now go ahead. How do you feel?
Good.
That really gets things going. All right. So we're moving down the body, going back into parallel. So just working ankles, and sometimes the ankles will get stiff, and we need our feet as we pedal. I'm going to have you just go ahead and do some pedal pushes. Yeah. Yeah. And this, again, it's a good cardio. Just kind of gets the blood going. Helps with stiff ankles. Good. Good. Nice. And if you want, you can add those arm swings. Yeah. Good. Nice. And go ahead and just center it. Now, if you want to make this a little more challenging, a little bit more of a balance challenge, you can go ahead and just roll on the toes together and then lift again. So you'll do it. So toes and then lift the toes. Yeah. This is a little harder, but it's good for the alignment, really good for tracking. And go ahead and add your arms. So lift up and bring it down. Now you can add a little bend to the knee if you want. Yeah. Good. These are quick and easy exercises, can be done anywhere. Don't take very long. Excellent. Good. Now, if you are comfortable with using the lower part of your body, your knees or bent knees, ankles, you can just do the arms as well. Yeah, because that will get the heart rate up. All right. Good. So the last standing exercise I'm going to demonstrate, or have Peter demonstrate, is the plie. So the plie comes to us from the ballet world. I'm going to go ahead and bring you up. We'll use it all the time in Pilates. Bring yourself out to a wider Pilates stance. And we'll just do a simple plie, and you can do anything with your arms if you want to use your arms or not. Yeah, Peter was a dancer, so he's got that automatic arm out. You can do it with arms to the side, whatever. Really squeezing those inner thighs, getting some heart rate up. It's a little easier on the joints than a jumping jack. Now, here's where we're going to use the TheraBand as a prop. Now, you could also use a towel, and I'll show you that as well. You can extend that TheraBand out. And as he plies, you can push it up. Now, I'm just going to use the towel and press out on my towel. Good. Which works just about as well. Whole series of exercises by Fletcher that use a towel. So we're right down that Pilates path. Let's just do one more. Excellent. All right, from here we're going to work again on releasing some shoulder tension. Going right into some above halos or airplanes, whatever you want to call it. Do it without any lower body movement. Just go ahead and make circles. Let's go up above your head. Just circles around. Just circle around. Yeah. So just this movement alone is really good at releasing tension in the shoulders. Now, if you want to make it more dynamic and more aerobic, go ahead and add your plies. Yeah. Yeah, and you can make these as big or as little as you want. Now, yeah. And again, I do maybe 5 or 6 on one side, and then, of course, you want to reverse the direction. You always want to make sure we're balanced and doing the same thing. Yeah. Sometimes with those, it's nice to start small, just like Peter did, and then increase the dynamics of the exercise. Beautiful. The last exercise that we'll do in the standing position is bringing that TheraBand behind the head or the towel. Now, if this doesn't feel good, I wouldn't do it. If this exercise prior was hard, this probably won't happen yet. But we're all working towards opening the chest with all the kyphotic postures in our society. This is super good. Now, he's just bringing it down. That's right. Behind his good. And he can limit the range of motion. If that's hard to do, you could just do a tiny one. You don't bring it all the way down. Yeah. He could add his plies. So you can combine some of these exercises. And these are, again, a little more advanced as we start building and adding on. So just do 2 more. Last one. Yeah. And then release. Beautiful. All right. I'm going to pull that FISA ball back, and you can put your prop away. Now, the FISA ball is also a nice prop to open up the chest. So we're going to take the FISA ball, put it against the wall, and I'm going to have Peter, we'll do 2 different placements. The first will be right at the sacrum. It's going to have a parallel stance, just similar to what he did with his squats. And then just go ahead and bend slightly and bring our arms forward. So we're going to incorporate that arm swing with a squat. And as he's going into that ball, he's actually pushing his core into the ball and maintaining a posture. Takes a little strength to the core to do that. You can also do it with an alternating arm like we did earlier. So again, we're building, taking exercises and building with a new prop. Nice. Beautiful. All right. So I'm going to place the bicycle up a little higher. Now this is where it's really good to open up the chest. It's right there at the base of the scapula, his shoulder blades. You can do the same set of exercises as he reaches up with the arm. And now he's going to get a little bit more of a release through the shoulders. He can get a little bit more of an opening up through here. You can also do it with both arms at the same time. Lifting up. Nice. Good. And he can feel the contour of the ball really opening up the chest. Good. Now from here, go ahead and start the shoulders. This is a little bit more dynamic. He's got that same head placement. He can go ahead. Nice. And he can start some circles from there. There's all sorts of variations using the bicycle. And if your neck is strong and you feel okay, but also let your head go back. Try it straight. Yeah. And these are more dynamic. So experiment with these. If you've not done any of this kind of movement, I would work up to it. Yeah. Try it with straight arms down. Just really feel the whole contour down. Yes. Good. And then reverse. Always want to reverse. Yeah. So he's really hugging those shoulder blades into the ball. Yeah. One more. Super good. Beautiful. A little cardio there too. Excellent. All right. So now we're on the mat. I'm going to have to get up for just a second. I'll write this. So let's go ahead and do a roll down. Now you can get down to the mat anywhere you want. Peter's going to incorporate his roll down. Good. Don't feel you have to do that, but it's a really good way to combine some of our exercises. So most of you are familiar with what the quadruped shape is. If not, this is a quadruped. Shoulders and wrists are in alignment, as are hips and knees. So that's really important before you get started in any of these exercises in this position. Cat and cow is a very common exercise you see both in yoga and Pilates. So what I'm going to have you do, Pete, is take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, extend the spine. So you're really letting everything sink. Just a little bit of reach. And there's that extension through the shoulders, through the chest. Nice extension through here, the lumbar spine. And then exhale through, rounding the spine. So this is super good for release of that lower back. There's a lot of tension in that lower back. We focus on trying to lengthen the spine in Pilates. That's a big part of what we do. And that spinal articulation and the movement helps the synovial fluid flow in those vertebrae. Good. Super good exercise. One more. I would do, with each one of these exercises, 3 to 5. You know, if this one feels good, yeah, you can do more. Nice. And then find a neutral spine. So neutral spine would be someplace I could set a cup or coffee on his back there. All right, so this next exercise is a little bit more advanced, but it's going to incorporate the shoulder opening, a little bit of balance with our quadruped. So Pete, go ahead and take, let's take your left arm first, and we'll just, put it behind the occiput of the head. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, his gaze is going to go out, and again, you're opening up that chest. Wonderful chest opener. Yeah. Got a great range of motion here with all the exercises we've been doing. He's really warmed up. Beautiful. And let's go ahead and do the other side. I'll give you some space there. Nice. And you might find one side's tighter than the other, do you? Yeah, I noticed this right side wasn't, the range of motion wasn't as great. So maybe what he would do, knowing that, start with the right side, do the left side, maybe come back to that right side because there's that more tension there. It's his dominant side, which makes sense, yeah? All right, go ahead and push into a child's pose. Now, a child's pose is something that we call rest position in Pilates. Now, since I'm here, I can give him a little bit of a push. Yeah, just reach out. I'm going to move this ball out of the way. All right, now let's go ahead and to your elbows. This next exercise is an elbow plank. There you go. And let's start on your knees first. So you can, it's going to get harder as your knees go farther back. So he can make this as hard or as easy as you want. Make sure your shoulders are right over your elbows. So just bring a little bit in. There you go. This is really good for the core. It's also really good to help strengthen that lower back. If he wants to make it harder, he can bring his So his knees up and be on the toes. Yeah. And this is a little more advanced exercise, but it's very doable. Okay. Nice. Go ahead and bring your knees down and find yourself into a Sphinx position. Now, Sphinx position, again, is a really good exercise for extension of the spine and opening up the chest, which is something we, again, need to work with a lot in our society with all that hunched over movement we have on computers. Kyphosis is a real problem, which is the rounding and hunching of the shoulders. So this helps combat that. Beautiful. Now, if he wants to make this a little bit more advanced, he would go into what we call Swan in Pilates or Cobra in yoga. It's a similar move. Go ahead and push yourself up. If you're not comfortable with the Sphinx, yeah, I wouldn't do this. This is kind of an advancement. I like how his shoulders are nice and long. So you want to avoid any tension in here in the trapezius. He can add his neck rolls that we had from the beginning of our session. Nice. And this is right out of the classic Pilates repertoire, archival repertoire. Beautiful. And go ahead and push into another child's pose. And this time, I've got a treat for you, Pete. You get to child's pose on the bicycle. So go ahead and put your hands on. This is one of my favorite things to do. Yeah, when I'm tense through the shoulders, the traction that happens is a result of the ball being higher like that, and he can really work and allow those shoulders to get a wonderful chest opener, wonderful traction for those shoulders. Feels so good, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Now, to make this a little bit more interesting for the spine, you can go over to the side and involve the side walls. It gives a little twist to the spine. Very healthy for the spine to twist. We don't do enough twisting in our bodies. Let's do one more on each side. Good. And if you have somebody around, you're doing this for yourself in your own practice, you got somebody to give yourself a little nudge. Feels super good. Nice. All right. Beautiful. All right. So that's another use for your bicycle. We'll get him out of the way. Last set of exercises are going to be done seated and then supine. So if you could come over here and bring your knees up and your feet flat and feet parallel. Now, if this is hard to do, you can do this up against a wall. You don't think you have to sit without any support. Now, Peter's got a real strong core and a real strong back, so it works okay. Go ahead and place your hands underneath. There you go. Now, if you're doing this against the wall, what you'd want to do is maybe sit 2 or 3 inches away from the wall, because as you're using the core to press into it, you're going to need a little space. All right. So take an inhale and exhale. Just do your cat movement. So what we're doing is just rounding the spine ever so slightly and getting a nice C curve or a scoop, we call it in Pilates, and bring it up to center. This is focusing on spinal articulation and also getting that core strengthened. It'll help with your seated postures. Let's do one more. Exhale down. Good. So it's a very simple but powerful exercise. Now to add on, go ahead and inhale and then exhale down. He can bring himself a little farther. Good. Now notice he has his hands there. That's going to help him bring him up. And then bring it back up with an inhale. Now if he wants to make it even that next level of difficulty, reach your arms out. Inhale and exhale. Making sure his shoulders are down. He's imagining he's pressing down. Good. And then bring yourself back up. Good. Let's do one more. Inhale. You fit 5 or 6 of these into your daily life. You are going to see a big difference in the strength of your core, and bring it up. All right. I'm going to have him go all the way down to the mat, all the way down. And if you don't feel comfortable in doing that, just go down to the mat any way you want. Bridging. So if you can move yourself just a little closer. Bridging, another excellent exercise to give the spine some release and articulating the spine. Good for the hamstrings and the glutes. So take an inhale and push yourself up into a short bridge. It's going very slowly, which is nice because you can control how that vertebra is articulating. I'm going to have Pete hold that there for 3 breaths. If that's too long, you can just do 1 breath. You might find if you've never bridged before that your bridge is very low. That's okay. You can work up to it. But these are progressive exercises. Now the last breath is going to exhale down slowly. He's really being mindful of that upper spine coming down first, spreading out, and making sure the spine is articulating bone by bone. Let's do that again. Inhale, exhale up. Just pressing it up. Nice. Good job. Good. Take an inhale and exhale. So I'm having Pete imagine Go ahead, bring down the upper spine first. Yeah, so sometimes there's little places in your spine, maybe around your lumbar spine, that want to chunk. So if you really work on stretching that, you're going to get some release in the upper spine. To make this a little bit more challenging, he's going to put his feet together. Now again, if you want a little more strength through the glutes and the hamstrings, this is the way to go. So go ahead and push up to the short bridge with the legs together. Yeah. Take an inhale and exhale down. That's a little harder position. And if this is easy for you, you can try the one-legged version. Inhale and press it up. Really firing up the glutes and the hamstrings on this one. And bringing it down. Good. Let's do the other side because, of course, we have to stay balanced. It's really important to make sure that both sides get equal treatment, or that the side that's extremely weak you give a little extra to. You don't want to cheat the sides out of their due. Nice work. All right. From here, we're going into a spinal release, really good for the whole back, but especially the lumbar spine. Knee rolls. So we'll start with the feet on the mat, and you can bring your arms out into a T position. Roll your legs over to the right, and his gaze is going to go to the left. It allows the neck to get a little release, and then the spine to get a release. Yeah. And bring together. Inhale and exhale over. So that breath is exhaling as he's twisting. And that's always the case in Pilates. We exhale out as we're twisting. And let's do that again. One more time. Beautiful. And so to make this a little bit more dynamic, you can increase the range of motion by bringing your feet up to tabletop. Do it one at a time, Yeah, to be safe with the lumbar spine, the lower back, it's best to do that tabletop one by one. If you feel any pulling in the lower back, this isn't the exercise for you yet. So go ahead and bring your knees up to the other side. A little more dynamic though. And then go ahead on the other side. Bring your knees really close to your chest. You want to keep your knees really close. That proximal position to the knees is going to keep the back safe. Let's do one more. Good. Yeah. Nice. So this is really good for lower back. It feels super good though, doesn't it, Pete? Yeah. This is like our dessert after a long session of Pilates. All right. So our last exercise is kind of a combined exercise stretch. Go ahead and roll yourself up. Good. And extend your legs. You can bring yourself to a seated position in the middle of the mat. This is simply a spine stretch forward. I'll have you do a classic spine stretch forward. Reach your arms forward. Inhale. Palms down. Nice, easy shoulders. And let your head just go down to the window of your arms. Keep that roundness in your spine and just reach it forward. Good. Now, we're not hinging here. We're not doing this. We're rounding the spine, which is really important because what that's going to do is give the lumbar spine a really nice stretch. And very slowly stack the spine bone by bone. Good. Your head will be the last thing to come up. Kind of like a roll-up seated. Do one more time. Inhale. Head goes down, just like your roll down, but we're doing it seated. I'm going to give Pete a little stretch here because he's working so hard. And then very slowly roll it up as you exhale, reaching long. Good. And then stack your spine bone by bone. Good. And put your hands down. Good. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. This is just a very small example of what Pilates can do to help you prepare your body for your teaching and prepare your students for better playing. Okay. Take care.